Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, and that means we are talking Turner syndrome. I wanted to continue my series on parent advice, and I actually wanted to kind of give a little more information on the infertility aspect of it. The first video I did, kind of giving advice to parents on how to handle different aspects, was on how to talk to your daughter about the infertility aspect of Turner syndrome. And I said that there were a ton of options and that there was no reason that it would ever be impossible or just not happen for her to be a mom, that there are a million different ways and even more options than we could have ever dreamed of to have a family and have kids and be a mom. So I wanted to kind of lay out in this video the information I have on that, on the infertility options, or the options for having kids when you don't have ovaries that do their job like they should. The first option obviously is adoption, which is an amazing one. It's a incredible thing. It's extremely beautiful. There are also a lot of different facets for going about that, and there's a lot of different research you can do to the different ways of facilitating it or ways of having it happen. And there are some new ways that I have come across, or one new way that I have come across, that I will make the second option, and that is embryo adoption. Until like a week and a half ago, I had no idea what embryo adoption was. It was like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. And a channel I follow posted a video announcing that they had done embryo adoption. So what embryo adoption is when a couple goes through IVF, they of course harvest as many eggs from the wife as they can, and they fertilize all of those eggs that they get in hopes of having even just one embryo that survives and implants and makes it and is a viable pregnancy, and they get a baby out of it. Well, for couples that get a lot of eggs and therefore a lot of embryos, they don't always end up using all of them. And they have options that they have to look at for how to deal with the embryos that they don't use after they're done going through IVF cycles to have kids. And they have a few options. They could just have it destroyed, they could donate it to science, or they could adopt them out. And adopting them out looks like a couple that maybe, like me, I can't produce an egg in an IVF cycle, so we need egg donation. But this is a lot cheaper version of being able to go through pregnancy. It's still adoption. It still is fully treated legally in every way as adoption, but you adopt those embryos, do an embryo transfer into you, you carry the baby. The caveat to that is you do still need to be cleared to go through pregnancy, just like you would for IVF. The exact same screenings need to be done. You still need to make sure your heart is in good enough condition. Health-wise, you should be in good enough condition. It's treated the exact same as IVF, but it's different. It's not genetically you or your husband's child. It is still legally adoption, but you get to carry it. You get to give birth to your adopted child. So I had never heard about that. I was super stoked about it when I did hear about it. So I thought I'd share that. That's an amazing option also. And it is, from the information I've been given, it is a substantial amount cheaper than IVF with egg donation, which I will make our third option, and that is IVF with egg donation. The most common problem with Turner's infertility is premature ovarian failure. That's what I was diagnosed with. That's what my issue is, and that's the most common issue, is either having ovaries that are streaks of tissue and never fully formed, or having ovaries that just aren't functioning. The light's off, nobody's home, nothing's happening, and they're not responding, and you lose your egg reserve. You have low egg reserve. So in that situation, for girls or women with Turner's, you need a donor egg to even be able to go through IVF, because you don't have eggs to contribute for them to try to fertilize. And so it could still be genetically your husband's, but you need that donor egg. So IVF with egg donation can look probably different depending on who you do it with. I know the doctor that we consulted with when we were looking into it, we haven't done it. I don't know if we'll ever have the money to do it in the future, but we did look into it while I was trying to get my answers for what my body was doing. And he said it would mean syncing up me and the donor. We would choose a donor to start. We would choose a donor. They would sync us up. They would prepare me and give her everything she needed to have follicles stimulated and grow the eggs, and then harvest them from her, fertilize them, and implant them in me at the right time, how they synced it up. And then 2 weeks later, we would take a test and see if it took, and it implanted. And I know there was a lot of talk of fresh eggs from a live donor, or frozen eggs. There was a lot of statistics on the success rate of both of those thrown at me, and I was heavily impressed upon the importance of the live donor giving us the best success rate. And that is something that has been pretty the same across the board with everywhere I've read anything about IVF with egg donation, is that the live donor route gives you the best chance at being successful. So that being said, you can do with that information what you will. I think IVF with egg donation is probably the most expensive route. Of course, adoption fees can vary also depending on how you go about adopting or what agency you go through. But you got to kind of just look into your options, price-wise, time-wise, health-wise, because the embryo adoption and IVF very heavily, I cannot impress enough, you need to make sure with your doctor that you are healthy enough to carry, and that you're physically able to, because I know I've heard not just, oh, my heart's not strong enough, but also my uterus is not in a good enough place right now. And depending on what the state of your uterus is, they can maybe give you medicine to help that. But that's another aspect to it also. Physically being able to, and your heart being capable of handling going through pregnancy. All of that is very important to consider with both of those. So I wanted to give that warning. So my last option I wanted to talk about was foster care and foster to adopt, because those are kind of connected, but it's also heavily connected to just adoption, because it is not rare to have adoption come up when a social worker brings a foster placement to you when you are a foster parent. And I know there are a lot of couples that start it and do the foster to adopt so that all the kids they're getting placed with them are kids that are able to be adopted, so that they can go through that and try to match with a child that they can adopt. And you can choose whatever you want. Fostering, like I've said before, comes with a lot of baggage, especially if you're getting to the older ages. They went through a lot of life before they got to you. They went through a ton of life, and you have to be able to handle whatever they need to throw at you. And I say they need to throw at you because everything they're coming to you from was not their fault. It's not their baggage they're trying to work through. And as the foster parent, it kind of becomes the goal to give them your best that you can while you have them, and hope that that gives them the ability to make progress forward and really move on from the situation they came from and heal and work on whatever they need to. So those are all the options I know about. There is 2 major caveats with those, both with foster care and with the embryo adoption and IVF with egg donation, and I can't stress those enough. Foster care, you really, really have to prepare yourself for all of that comes with it, and be able to be okay with however the placement goes for each kid. So if you have any other options, I would love to hear about them. If there's anything else that you have tried or you've heard of that you really were passionate about and really cared about, I would love to hear those in the comments. I'm constantly finding new ones, I feel like. And let me know your experiences of the ones that I have talked about and shared about. And if you've gone through one, let me know how that was. If you're really hoping to go through a specific one, let me know that. Just let me know what you think in general. I would love to hear your stories of how you handled it if you're a Turner syndrome woman. And for the parents, I really hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you a little more information to go off of, and also a little encouragement that there are options for her. There are so many options for her, and that's kind of the greatest part of this whole journey of researching for me, has been that encouragement from knowing there are options and really kind of falling in love with all of the options that there are. So that has been good, and I hope it was just as helpful for you guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. If you have another suggestion for a parent series advice video, whatever, however I want to say that, leave that in the comments as well. Click subscribe if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!